I don't know what I was thinking. It's so close. Hi guys, my name is Imogen, I am 20 years old, and in September I started studying Geography with German at the London School of Economics. Now, a lot of people think that London is a super expensive city to live in as a student, and there is some truth in that. But for today's video, I thought it would be really interesting to look at how much I have spent over the past 10 weeks whilst living as a student in London. So let's start with week number one. Now, week number one began on the 21st of September, and it was the week when I moved to university, technically my freshers week. So in that week on transport, I spent £2.80 on the tube getting to uni, and I also went cycling with my friends in Hyde Park, and I think I went on the tube a couple more times. So in total, transport ended up costing me £9.60 in the first week. Then in terms of food and drinking out, that's why I spent money on the tube, because I went out for drinks in Shoreditch, and I also went to Franco Manca with a couple of my friends from my course. So in total on food and drink out, I spent £11.30 that week. Then there was also a really good sale on Topshop, so I ordered myself some new jeans, and surprisingly those only came to £12. What a bargain. So in total, in Freshers Week, I think this might be the cheapest Freshers Week anybody has ever had, I only spent £32.90. And you might be thinking, but Imogen, you didn't actually go to a supermarket or spend any money on food that week. And that is because, very kindly, before I went to university, my parents did a big Lidl shop with me and bought a lot of food, so I was still kind of relying off that for the first couple of weeks. So the next week I had a massive spending week because my accommodation fee was due, so I paid £1,287.15. Now my accommodation cost, I think, £109 per week, so that was just paying for the entire term. On transport for that week, I spent £20.75. Now, some of that was spent on the tube, and that week I also came home because I needed to work in the next couple of weeks. So I decided to come home for a few weeks, so that also pays for my train fare home. That week I also went and met my parents to celebrate my birthday. We had to go to the Olympic Park, so I had to pay for the tube there. And then whilst we were there, I actually bought my family Pret, and this was pre-Pret subscription. Honestly, I don't know what I was doing at this point. That ended up costing me £10.55 for Pret. Crikey. As well as my accommodation fee, I also needed to pay my common room fee. Now, your common room fee, I don't know if all universities have this, but at LSE, you pay a certain amount of money, which in this case was £45. It covers you for the whole year, and it goes to your halls committee, who then run events and use the money to fund the food and drink for those events throughout the year. So in total in week two, I spent £1,363.45. As I previously mentioned, for the next 4 weeks, I was actually at home or at work. In the week commencing the 5th of October, I spent £2.20 on the bus around my local area, and I also spent £19 on clothes. So in total that week, I spent £21.20. Now, I wasn't paying for staying at home, and I also wasn't paying for food. So on the week commencing the 12th of October, the following week, I spent £5.60 on the bus around my local area again. And I also spent £5.42 because I went out for a hot chocolate with one of my friends. Now this week, because I was at home, I was doing uni online, I got a little bit bored and decided to do some online shopping. I actually bought this jumper and a few other bits, and that came to £32.49. So in total that week, I spent £43.51. Now, the following week, the week commencing the 19th of October, I actually went to work, and my accommodation is provided at work, as is my food, and I wasn't doing any online shopping whilst I was there. So in that week, I actually spent £0.00, which I'm really pleased about. Again, the following week, I was also at work, and we did go to the pub on our last night at work, and so then I spent £7 that evening. Then on the week beginning the 2nd of November, I actually travelled back up to university and began living there again. So this week was the first week that I actually spent any money on food in a supermarket since I've moved to uni, and I spent £15.94 just stocking myself up with essentials from Lidl. Then on transport, I spent £2.80 because I needed to get the tube back to university. Now, this is where it all starts to go a little bit wrong. So this is the week before we went into lockdown in the UK, and I was determined to make the most of the time that I had to see my friends again after I'd been away for a whole month. So I ended up spending £57.59 on eating out this week. This included going to Franco Manca with one of my friends. I also did something called Too Good To Go with my roommate. So basically, Too Good To Go is an app that you can use, and when restaurants that are participating in the app are coming towards closing time, they will often put kind of goodie bags on there, and any stock that they haven't sold, they will give to you at a reduced price basically. So we paid £5 and we went and got this really, really nice Middle Eastern meal. We also Uber Eats'd in Franco Manca. I actually went to Pret, and this is again before my Pret subscription, and I seem to have got myself a peppermint tea from the price. I went to Wagamama's with a girl who's in my German class. I went and got a hot chocolate with one of my friends from home who also studies at LSE. And I also bought my Pret subscription now, because it was looking like Pret was going to stay open whilst we're in lockdown. So I spent £20 and actually got the subscription because my free trial had run out. Additionally, this week I decided to invest in Spotify Student, so I started my subscription there. So that was £5 for the month. And as we knew we were going into lockdown, we thought we'd had lots more free time at home. So I went to a charity shop, I went to Oxfam and bought a jigsaw puzzle for us to do in our room. In total that week, therefore, I spent £84.32. Now, the following week, the week beginning the 9th of November, was a bit of a tricky one because we actually found not only were we in lockdown in the UK, we were also going into self-isolation in our halls because somebody on our corridor had tested positive. So this is where my one big spend of the term comes in. I spent £139 on AirPods. Now, to me, that sounds like such a lot of money to just spend at once, and I had been thinking about it since my birthday in September, and I'm so glad I got these AirPods. I share a room with 2 other people, which is why my rent is so cheap for London, but it does mean that I always have to have my headphones in when I'm on Zoom or when I'm listening to music. That week, I also spent £23.33 on my food because I was stocking up before we went into isolation. I spent £3 on transport, which was just getting the bus to and from somewhere. I then also spent £3.76 on food and drink out because in the few days before we went into isolation, I went to Co-op to get my lunch whilst I was on campus, and I also got a Tesco meal deal. And I spent £12.99 on a baseball bat. Now this sounds completely loopy and we still haven't used it yet, but we bought a baseball bat thinking that our whole corridor would go and play rounders in the nearby park because we planned it for the weekend and then we got put into isolation so we couldn't actually do that. And we still have not managed to go and play rounders yet because the weather has not been good enough, but fingers crossed in the new year we'll be able to use my baseball bat and tennis ball and go and play rounders in Regent's Park. Additionally, that week I actually saw on Instagram that a girl who I used to go to school with, Rachel, is actually running the London Marathon, and I thought it'd be really nice to give her a small donation, so I actually donated £10 and I think I had to pay 45p extra as like a donation fee thing. So in total that week I spent £192.53. Wow. The following week we were still in isolation, so I actually asked one of my friends from halls to go and do some shopping for me, so that ended up costing £12.15. We also had a small birthday party for one of our friends, Emily, whilst we were in isolation, and so we needed some drinks for that. So in total, I spent £16.80 on food and drink out, although we were actually in that week, and that included my Uber Eats sushi that we got and also those drinks for Emily's party. Also that week, my friend Rhiannon was doing a sponsored walk around Glasgow, so I donated to her Just Giving page. And one of my friends was doing Movember, so I also donated to his page. And so in total, I spent £15 on charity that week. And it might seem like I'm spending an awful lot of money on charity, but I know last year when I was raising money to go to Nepal, so many people that I didn't expect to donate donated, and it meant such a lot to me. And so I think it's really important that I support my friends when they're doing things as well. That week, I spent £43.95 in total. Now, the following week, we were out of isolation finally, and so I spent £13.53 on my shopping. So I went to Lidl and Tesco. I'd run out of food completely by this point because we've been in isolation, and so I stocked up for the rest of term. I also spent £2.10 on laundry, and that's quite cheap really because I think Circuit Laundry actually costs £2.80, but I share my laundry cost with my friend Hannah who lives in my room. If she needs something at the supermarket, I will buy that for her to make up for the fact that she's paying for laundry. I also ended up spending £1.50 on the bus this week, and that was because I'd hurt my foot and so I was really struggling to walk to and from uni, so I just ended up getting the bus back on Friday evening. I spent £17 on food and drink out, and that is because we had sushi again and we also ordered Taco Bell in. That was my first ever Taco Bell. So in total that week I spent £34.13. Now the next week, the week commencing the 30th of November, I spent £7.30 on food. We actually went to Waitrose this week. I don't know what I was thinking. On transport that week, I spent quite a lot because my foot was still really, really sore, and so I ended up spending £8.40 for buses and tubes that week. This week was also the week that we came out of lockdown in the UK, so we were able to go out and a lot of restaurants opened up again. So I ended up spending £34.98 on eating out this week. So that is because I went to Itsu with my friend Lottie, I went to Cafe Nero also with Lottie. I went for a Costa with my friend Leah. Basically, we were filming at 9 AM on a Saturday morning, and I felt so bad for dragging her out of bed to come and help me film that I actually bought her a Costa. And then we also went for Christmas dinner at a local pub. That is me and all of the girls on my household. I also had my reoccurring Spotify subscription, so I spent £4.99 on Spotify that week, and I spent £17.75 getting things like the gingerbread house and a few of the other festive bits for the Christmas video. In total, therefore, that week, I spent £73.42. So that brings us to this week just gone, which is the week when I came home from university and just did university online this week. So I spent £3 on a new notebook for my German vocab. I also spent £22.35 on public transport, so that includes getting the train home from university. I went and saw my grandma this week, so I paid for the bus to get over there. And I also went shopping with one of my friends, and so I needed to get the train home from there. In terms of food and drink out this week, I spent £4.40, and that is because I got a hot chocolate with one of my friends, and I also just really craved some instant noodles. I eat them quite a lot at university, and so I went and got some from the co-op whilst I was here. Also, this week I ended up going into town, which was a little bit dangerous because I spent £45.40 on clothes this week, which is a new cardigan and some new Topshop jeans because I just really needed some. That means in total this week I spent £75.15. So that is the end of the outgoings for this term. In terms of income that I got this term, on the second week I got £1,973.73 from Student Finance England. I am essentially on the minimum student loan maintenance loan thing that you can be on. However, I do live in London, so I get about £6,000 a year. My rent in total for this year should cost about £3,300, which leaves me £2,700 to live off for the whole year. Now, I haven't actually added up, oh, and I also got some money from work. I got about £600 for the 2 weeks that I worked. Now, I haven't actually added up how much money I spent for the whole term because I wanted to save it for this video. So essentially, what I'd like it to be under is £1,973 because that is my student loan. And I have no idea if it's going to be under that. Okay, ready? Okay, I spent £1,971.56 this term, which means I have about £2 spare for the whole term. I'm really pleased that that's under. £1,900 seems like a lot of money. What if I spent that on? Oh, it's because my accommodation counts in that. So besides my accommodation, should we work out how much that is? So besides my accommodation fee this term, I have actually spent £684.41, which I'm really, really pleased about. So I think we will end the video there. I really hope this shows that going to university in London does not have to be extortionately expensive, and there are definitely ways to keep costs low. I hope that you have found this video useful. If you have, as always, do give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel down below to see more about university life in London, and I will see you next time with a new video. Bye!